Today I thought I would share with you an art film that I made for university. I think it was about 2 years ago, and the project that we were given was to share a routine that we made. Now, the start of this project, I was making lists of different things, like trying to account for what I did with my day. But because I was in lockdown, and it was at the time when I think it was 2020 or 2021, I think it'd be 2020. Not sure. I'll have to check the dates. But anyway, one of those dates, and it was all, the height of infection. People weren't going out as much, and I was definitely hunkered down and making sure that I was being as responsible as possible. So my routine was very scattered around. My body clock had shifted incredibly, and it was just a lot of inconsistencies in my life and not a lot of productivity or inspiration that I could really tap into. So making the list of routines was quite tricky, but they asked us to make a video of a routine. I think they did anyway, or some kind of presentation of it. And mine was the film that I'm going to show you now. It's only a short film. It's kind of a little bit uneventful. So I hope you enjoy it. Here's the video. Now I'm going to narrate over this because there's very little sound effects or anything in the video which offers much entertainment. So just to show you that my routine at the time was to drink a lot of coffee, and back then I was a smoker, and I've cut both of those things out of my life. I find it easier to quit two things at once, and I think because coffee went with the smoking habit, it kind of went together. Cutting them both out at the same time made it easier. So that's what I did. But at the time, that was a big routine that I do over and over again, especially whilst I was in lockdown. So this is me making some fresh coffee from, I say fresh, it's ground coffee in cafetiere, but it was very strong, kind of espresso style coffee. And I basically tried to make as much of a background as I could back then. And I had this kind of thin board that was had a bit of a kind of painting design on it. I'm not too sure what from. And I used that to sit the board onto, so that made kind of quite a nice, interesting kind of platform for the bottom part. And it was just kind of, there's certain elements of this that I quite like. The camping stove element was something which was a big thing for me at the time. I don't do any of these things anymore, so it's a bit of a time capsule for my habits back then. And just trying to do little cuts and edits to push the film forward and make it a little bit arty. I find it interesting in ways, but at the same time I prefer other films that I've made that I'm going to share with you in the future. But when I came across this one, I thought this is one which I'll definitely share. Aside from the edits, the filming style was all done with my phone at the time. I didn't have this new camera that I bought this year. So I bought this camera in 2023, and back then was 2 years before this, I think, so it would have been around 2021, and I was using my mobile phone for all of the footage that I was capturing, and it made it a bit easier in ways because for this new camera I have to be a little bit more careful, and it's a little bit harder to set up, but the footage is so much better now than what it was back then. But at the same time, it's got a quality to it. I'm a little bit, double-edged sword with this, as you can tell. There are positives and negatives. Bits that I like about the aesthetic and bits that I would have improved upon. But there we go. That is the film that I made for my routine. And I find a lot of it quite charming, even though it's a bit uneventful and boring. That was a lot of what the university projects were about. So I would offer more of myself than what they would ask for, and then they wouldn't really engage with it or appreciate it. Another kind of example of that is that I would film a lot of me making art, drawing and painting in the process of it. And then when I showed it to them, they were kind of, didn't really say anything. And then when I showed them that I was also filming when I would be eating food, I'd have the camera hooked up looking like a bird's eye view down on my plate or bowl. That a tutor loved, and it was a tutor who I, have had problems with. But and they kind of made out as though that's good, do more of that. And I was really worried because I thought this is not the type of art that is me, really. I don't mind having that footage to use as part of a YouTube video, but not something where I'm going to say, as an artist, I'm now going to have food and the consumption of food to be an art project. I know it's probably very postmodern fine art, which is what they were all about, but I wanted to be seen and assisted and supported as an artist who liked drawing and painting and figurative stuff. I even quite like some sculpture, but it made it a real struggle going through university. I've talked about it in several videos, so I won't bang on about it now, but basically that was part of why this film is what it is. And my other art films are a little bit more exciting. If you want to see my other art videos, I have 2 up at the moment. I will share the one where I said how I got an A in art school, and that one is a link here. But there's also one which I'll leave a link in the description of this video. I'll leave a link in the description for both of them, but how I got an A is the link that I've just mentioned. The other one is my favourite art film that I've made, or the best art film that I made, which is really short, and I didn't do much with it except for compose music to accompany the footage. But I think that's what really unifies the film and made it so strong, in my opinion. So I'll leave a link for that in the description below, the best art film I made or I ever made. So yeah, have a look at that. This is another one that I'm sharing, and then there's going to be at least one more that I will share for my art film attempt. And yeah, I hope you liked it. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, share this with friends and family. The most important thing to me is this channel gets shared. If you don't do any of the other things, then please press that little curvy arrow button, or the little kind of weird triangle thing with dots on either side, the share button, and share this with friends, family, acquaintances, anyone that you can. I really want the channel to grow and expand, and with your help it will probably do that at some point soon. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.